Hi everyone, Jack Rogers in here, and today I'm going to be going over assignment 14.3, Analyzing Data Using Tools for AP Computer Science Principles. So for today's tutorial, I decided to go through and take a set of data from the Connecticut High School Athletic Organization. Um, I've taken a export of all the athletic events from my high school. So at the moment, I believe if I remember correctly, this data set has approximately uh, 150 values. Yeah, 144 entries, and this is just varsity athletics in this example here. So what I'm going to be doing is a series of things to organize and make sense of the data here. So the first thing that I'm going to do is go in and kind of clean up this data here. So to start with, from the website where this data was taken, it's exported as a CSV file, and then is exported into a spreadsheet software, say Excel or Google Sheets. In this example, I'm using Google Sheets. So when it's first brought in, there's a few formatting things that I'd like to take care of first. So for one thing, I'm going to go ahead and expand out some of the columns. That way I can see all the data inside of them. So I'm just going to do that here. That just takes a second. You go up to the top here where you can see which column you're working in, and you can simply just drag out to the side so you can see what is actually stored in that value. Another thing that I'm going to do is see over here where it has the location of the event. One thing I'm going to do, just for the sake of cleaning it up a little, is I'm going to go through and take out the section where it says home or away. So that way it just says the athletic complex where the event is being held. So to do that, I'm just going to do a very simple command, a find and replace command. So I'm going to be looking for the characters home, and I'm basically going to just be replacing it with nothing. So we can see it's found various instances of this, and I'm just going to say replace all, and then they've gone away. And actually what I'll do is in a second here, I'll go ahead and add in something to take out that dash as well. And I'm going to do the same thing for away. So as you can see at the end here, I've added just the simple dash surrounded by spaces. So what that's going to do is it's going to take away the extra space there. And now what I'll do is go ahead and do the same thing. That way all those cells look the same there. All right, there we go. As you can see, now it just says the complex where the event is going to be taking place as opposed to whether it's a home or away event. So that satisfies the requirement for kind of neatening up the data, adjusting some of the columns, as we could see, some of the formatting, which was quote unquote questionable. All right, so the next thing I'm going to be doing here is sorting the data based on some criteria found in the cells here. So the first thing I'm going to be doing is sorting it by just one criteria. So to do that, I'm going to go ahead and select all of the data, Control A, and then I'm going to go over here to this Data tab, and then I'm going to say Sort Range. And what I want to do is click this checkbox here that says the data has a header row, because in this case the data does. So that is indicating that this summary row here, as we can see over here, that is basically the name of the event and what team is playing in the athletic contest. So in this example here, if I go ahead and say sort, we can see what's going to happen is the data is going to be sorted into each specific sport. So for example here, up at the top, I have boys basketball. So it's sorting all of the away boys basketball games first, just because that's how they appear alphabetically, and then it's showing all of the home ones. And then if I continue to scroll down this list, we'll move into, say, boys track, and then girls basketball, girls volleyball, and so on. So that is only sorting the data by that specific criteria. So for example, another thing that I would find useful in just planning, say, my schedule or something, would be sorting the data by multiple criterias. So to do that, I can go up here and say data, and I can say sort by range again, but this time what I'm going to do is initially sort it by the date. And I'm going to say A to Z again, which is essentially numeric order, oldest events to newest events. And then what I'm going to do is add a second search criteria, which is going to be alphabetically sorting the data inside of the date subgroup. So I'm going to go ahead and say sort to that. So now if you take a look at the list here, you can see that I have the dates progressing from the older dates to the newest dates and then progressively into the future. So those are showing all of the same events that occur on the same day. So here we can see on this particular day, there are 3 different events that are occurring. So what now I can do is go in here and see what sports games are occurring on the same day. So this is just another way to look at the data in a way that may be useful for the end user. So another thing that is going to be useful is filtering the data in some way. So now that it's sorted, you want to come in here and filter it. So for example, if I wanted to say, let's pull up all of the sports games that are on today. Let's see, I'm going to go and just, for the sake of this tutorial, what I'm going to do is change the date here so that this game, I'm going to just make that on today's date that this tutorial is being made for the sake of illustrating this filter process. And I'm just going to change it so there's 2 or 3 of them that happen on the same day here. So now what I can do is if I come up to the top here, and then if I go into data and create a new filter view, what I'm going to have the ability to do is come in here and create a specific filter condition for the data. And in this case, what I'm going to do is sort it by the date. So for example, I'm going to say I want to filter it by the date being today. And we're going to say OK. So now what it's done is it's eliminated all the other data entries that don't match this point, or the that don't match the specific day. So that would be December 11th. So now we can see it's returned just these 3 events that I had to manipulate so that it was today's date for the sake of the tutorial, but here they are, they've returned them. So now in a real world application, I could sit there and I could go in and pull up this filtered set of data every day, and it would illustrate it would represent the sports games that were occurring that day. So that satisfies the filter the data based on a certain criteria requirement. So I'm going to go ahead and get out of that view here. And lastly, what I'm going to do is create a visual representation for this data set. So I think just for the sake of the tutorial and what the data is about, probably the most fitting method of sorting the data is going to be by creating a scatter plot showing the days of all the sports seasons and how many games are on that day. So what I'm going to do is go ahead and select just some of the data to make it easy here. And I'm going to go ahead and say insert chart. Oop, not images. My bad. Insert chart. Let's think about it for a second. There it is. And then I'm going to go ahead and change it right away to scatter plot. And then what I'm going to do is just set it so that the range of the data is B1 to B144, because that's what I know the data set is. So now, if we take a look at this lovely scatter plot that's been created here, I can see every day where there is a athletic game occurring, and I can see how many of that, or how many repetitions of that day or entry are in here. So in what that basically means is it's showing me what days of the year have, in this case on this top row here, 4 games in one day, then 3 games in one day, 2 and 1, and so on. So this way, this allows you to kind of visually see, what are busy days around here at the school. So if I go ahead and I find a day, let's see, here's one that looks like it's in December. Yep. Oh, so this is actually the fake data set I created for the filter one, but December 11th, which is today, I can see that I have 3 sports events occurring on the same day. So if I move over one, I can find this is an actual occurrence of this here. So on January 3rd, there's going to be 3 separate um, sports events that are occurring at the high school. So this is just a quick and easy way to kind of see, what is going on, how many events are occurring. And then, of course, you can create custom names for this chart, and you can label the axes and so on. But point being, here is a visual representation of just one way you could look at this data set and how it could be helpful to the end user trying to establish some meaning to what exactly are we looking at here. So with that, that is pretty much going to wrap up this tutorial for analyzing data using spreadsheet tools. So if you have any questions, please don't hesitate to forward them to me through any of the discussion posts or anything of that sort. And with that, thank you for tuning in and enjoy the rest of the VHS week.